you can avoid so much unnecessary drama by really having hard, difficult conversations. I think so many people avoid having hard, difficult conversations because they don't know how to have them. They are afraid of the outcome. They're afraid of hurting someone's feelings, and they truly don't know how to address things and work through the fear. Hello and welcome to the Elevate Podcast. I'm your host, Patricia Nowakowski. I'm a salon owner, educator, mindset, and leadership coach that helps salon owners go from overwhelmed and burnt out to motivated and empowered. It is my mission to help you systemize your business, generate more profit, and create a career that you love. Join us every week to learn about the small shifts you can make to elevate your business regarding mindset, marketing, social media, business systems, and so much more. Welcome to this week's episode of the Elevate Podcast. In today's episode, I'm going to be getting a little personal. I am going to share the growth and the learning lessons I have experienced having to do with a very toxic situation that I've recently experienced. One of the things that I'm so grateful for and that I will forever be utilizing is the consciousness that I have been taught and the shift in my perspective when it comes to negative things happening to me in my life. I think the only thing that we can switch and we can change in our lives is the way that we look at all of the things that happen. We can either choose to be a victim or we can choose to look at every single thing as an opportunity for growth and an opportunity for change and an opportunity to evolve. And that is what I like to do and the path I like to take. Making that choice gives you the opportunity to really truly become your best self and to continue to actually grow your capacity for success. It's choosing a happy life. When we can look at every situation as a blessing and every situation as an opportunity for change, and every negative thing that happens to us in our life as an opportunity given to us by the universe, God, whatever you want to call the divine thing that I believe in and I believe to be true, as a blessing and as a divine purpose, or for your life having a purpose, it really allows you to live a more happy, calm, just more beautiful life. When we choose to look at situations, and I will share this situation later when I'm ready to talk about it in a more calm manner and in a more emotionally intelligent way. But today I'm just going to be sharing the things that I learned from said incidents and the way that I'm choosing to grow. So recently I've had a toxic situation happen, and it was actually very traumatic for me. And this is something that has affected not only my personal life, but my professional life. I like to really take time to self-reflect and have self-awareness in all of the things that happen in my life. And I think this is something that has slowly progressed and grown over time. I think 5 years ago, I would have definitely looked at myself as a victim and, devastated. Why do these things happen to me? What's going on? Why do bad things happen? But because of the growth and the way that I truly have chosen to evolve myself and my mind, I was really blessed to just take this negative situation that happened, and I really found a lot of growth opportunities and a lot of things that will help me be a better person. So this is what I know to be true, and this is what I've learned with this current situation that has happened. So, number one, know who you are and don't waver from it. So for me, when this toxic situation arose, I was just kind of flabbergasted because I know who I am as a person. And what I know to be true for myself is, one, I am a really, really good friend. I'm an amazing friend. I celebrate the people in my life. I really take care of the people in my life. I listen to the people in my life. I'm empathetic. I am a great worker. I always do what's best for the person that I'm working for, and I always give 100%, and I always try to put myself in other people's shoes, and I know this to be true. I think when toxic situations, especially with people that are in our lives, happen, we have a tendency to want to second guess who we are, or people have a tendency to try to shift your perspective of the person that you are, which makes you question yourself. Wondering how I keep my business systemized? It's all thanks to Kajabi. Kajabi is a versatile platform that allows me to keep everything in one place, like my website, courses, forms, email marketing, my podcast, and so much more. It's easily mine and my team's favorite software for salon owners. To try Kajabi for yourself for 30 days, visit the link in the show notes. I think taking the time to sit down and really taking a hard look at who you are, not only one is going to grow your self-awareness, but two, it's going to build confidence and it's going to make sure that you really are aligned with who you are as a person. And no matter what happens or what somebody says or does, or the things that people say about you behind your back will not affect you because you know who you are as a person. So I think really just knowing who you are, knowing your characteristics, knowing your strengths, knowing your weaknesses, and not wavering from that is so important for your mental health and so important for your growth. And it's also important to know when to let go of people who no longer serve you, to let go of those people in your life. Also, understanding that everyone makes mistakes. Nobody is perfect. Mistakes don't define you. And every single human has things happening in their lives that they do, that they've said, that they've done, that makes them feel shame, guilt, that makes them feel less of themselves. Again, going back to those strong points and being self-aware and knowing that your mistakes don't define you as a person. And as long as you're utilizing those mistakes to truly grow and to elevate yourself to the next level and not repeating those mistakes is what's really important. Another huge lesson that totally stood out, and this is something that's going to make me a better leader, it's going to make me a better human, a better friend, is you can avoid so much unnecessary drama by really having hard, difficult conversations. I think so many people avoid having hard, difficult conversations because they don't know how to have them. They are afraid of the outcome. They're afraid of hurting someone's feelings, and they truly don't know how to address things and work through the fear. The ability to have difficult conversations, especially when you own a business and when you're a leader, should be your number one priority. I think one of the things that I pride myself in is I really do have the ability to have difficult conversations with my team. And in this situation, it is just so clear that this is such an important part of leadership. I think if the people that I was in this toxic situation with had the ability to have difficult, hard conversations with me and with the rest of their team, would have avoided so much unnecessary drama. So the ability to have hard conversations is a non-negotiable if you have a business. I also think one of the things that was difficult for me, because the pedestal that I put these people on, that I had this toxic situation happen with, I put them on a pedestal, which made it really hard for me to stick up for myself. And it made it really hard for me to say my truth. And there were statements made and little comments that were kind of passive aggressive made in front of me. And because I did not have the courage to stick up for myself, I kind of just let things go in passing and kind of brush them off. And it's definitely something that I should not have let happen. The ability to stick up for myself and to speak my truth is important, no matter how high of a pedestal I put somebody on, is something that I'm going to do moving forward. Another thing that I think is a huge aha moment for me is not to ignore red flags. There were so many things that had happened over the last, I want to say like 6 months to a year, that were giant red flags for me. Comments in passing, things that people said, feelings that I felt with my gut and my intuition that I chose to ignore, when in reality, if I would have trusted myself and trusted those feelings that I was having and that intuition that was coming through, and not ignored the red flags that were clear as day. I mean, the red flags were so clear that I was asking other people, this is what's happened and it doesn't feel good to me. And looking for that validation in other people to agree with me, when in reality, I don't need that validation. Those red flags were clear as day and I chose to ignore them. And I shouldn't have. And I know so many people out there, because they want to feel like they belong, because they feel like they're a part of something, or because they don't trust who they are truly as a person, choose to ignore red flags. Those red flags and that intuition is there to protect you. Your intuition is there to give you insight on your life and when something is no longer serving you, and those things cannot be ignored. I think there's so much power in speaking up, and then there's so much power in just being quiet. Both things are so hard when toxic situations happen, or, there's a falling out or something negative happens. It's the power to speak up and the power to have difficult conversations. But there's also so much power in not explaining yourself or giving time and energy to someone that no longer deserves it. So knowing when to let go is another powerful tool. I think once somebody breaks my trust, and once somebody clearly shows that they have behaviors that I will not accept in any capacity, that's when I know to let go. So I think understanding your boundaries, understanding what you will and will absolutely not tolerate, will help you make that decision on whether or not to either, one, stick up for yourself and really say your truth, or two, just to walk away. Because sometimes just walking away, I think in this situation, I had such rose-colored glasses on. And the beautiful thing about this situation happening was those rose-colored glasses were lifted, and I truly saw who these people were and what their true intentions were. I think another thing that's really hard and something that I'm trying to work through is you have no control over the story that people want to tell about you. Everyone is going to have their own version of the situation, and they're always going to, one, make the situation and the experience really work in their favor. And two, always try to make themselves look like the hero or the victim. And I think that is something that I have always tried to take into consideration, even for myself. There are situations that have happened where things happened to one of my really good friends, and I was friends with both people in the scenario, but really understanding that there are always three sides to a story: the truth, your version, and my version of the story. And I think a lot of people will villainize others to protect themselves out of fear, especially when it comes to business and when it comes to the loss of revenue, the loss of team members, and when they are scared to lose even more. So really having forgiveness for people, but also understanding that those toxic behaviors do not have to be tolerated. And that's something that I definitely learned. I have a very strong, very clear boundary that when somebody treats me a certain way, I will no longer give the time and energy to that person. I just cut ties. That's what works best for me, and that is what works best for my mental health. Another huge lesson that I've learned from this experience is that consciousness can be used in such a positive, beautiful way. And it is so beneficial for growth and for the mindset that you need to have to truly be happy and healthy and to have a very, very clear mind. But it can also be used as a form of manipulation and a way to deflect. And I think that in this scenario with the people that I experienced this toxic experience with, definitely used consciousness and emotional intelligence and these tools to deflect toxic behavior that they actually portrayed in their lives and in their business. So I do believe that that was used in a way as manipulation. So what do I mean by that? Using personal responsibility to deflect any negative things that they were doing or to project the negative behaviors that were happening inside of the business onto their team members. I really think that they definitely did not practice what they preached when it came to having difficult conversations and when it came to actually stepping up and pushing through fear. I think there was a lot of hiding behind, just hiding, running away from things. And as a good leader should do, they should be able to tackle the hard things in their business. And I don't think that that was portrayed in this situation. I think the last thing I'm going to share is practice what you preach. That really did show to me what true and good leadership is and what not to do in my business. But the last thing I want to share is not to sacrifice or to implement things in my business that I know don't work. I think in this scenario, we were really pushed to implement certain methods and certain things I was pushed to, do certain things in my business that I knew didn't work and I knew weren't creating the result that I truly wanted. I also want to add that I will never be quiet and never lose my voice again. I feel like I was just trained to regurgitate things that really didn't align with me and didn't align with my business and that I knew were not true and I knew didn't work just because I wanted to be a part of something bigger. When in reality, if it doesn't align with you, if it doesn't align with your business, don't do it. If you know it not true or not to be true, and you know it's not going to give you the results that you want, don't do it. Don't lose your voice, and don't do things in your business that you know are detrimental to your business growth because you think that being a part of something bigger is more important. There is nothing more important than the thing that you've created, the business that you've envisioned, your mission, your personal culture. There's nothing more important than that, because when it boils down to it, that is where you're truly going to find true success, is in the thing that you pour your energy into, you pour your authenticity into, the thing that is unique to you. Cookie cutter methods, cookie cutter business doesn't work. It's not going to fuel that passion, that mission, that culture that you've created. Business is it's not a cookie cutter thing. It should be unique to you, and you should stick to your business truths and don't lose your voice because you want to be a part of something that you think is going to be bigger when in reality it's not. Especially with the red flags, especially with the toxic behaviors, and especially with the things that trigger those intuitions. Don't let somebody else tell you what's better for you, because deep down inside, you will know what's good for you. So that is the story I have to share. I will share in depth in the future, I'm sure, more about what has happened and kind of just share my truth about the situation, maybe in a future episode. But I hope today's episode was insightful. I hope the next time something that happens to you will strike you to, one, look at it as a blessing, because everything that happens in our life is always for our better good. There's always a purpose and a reason behind it. And even if we can't see it in the moment, it always reveals itself when it's time. But, working through your feelings, really focusing on self-development and awareness and breaking down the situation to bring the opportunities for growth is the way to actually move forward and evolve. And I hope the next time, and hopefully nothing bad happens to you in your future, but I hope the next time that something happens to you that really it doesn't seem like a blessing, hopefully you can look at that and really grow and really expand and evolve who you are as a person and really limit you from being a victim in a situation, but utilizing those difficult things to be a better version of you. Thanks for tuning into the Elevate podcast. If you loved this episode, it would mean the world to me if you could leave a review on Apple Podcast or wherever you listen. The Elevate podcast is hosted by me, Patricia Nowakowski, and produced by Opulent Beauty Pro. To receive my free business guides, visit opulentbeautypro.com/free or click the link in the show notes. You can find me on Instagram at opulentbeautypro or at Patricia_Nowakowski_OBS. If you love this show, please consider subscribing. See you next week.